We are just so very excited and honored to have you, Tywon, here to just teach us because we are also inquisitive minds and we are hungry to learn more about hydrogen therapy. And just thank you for taking the time as an expert in this field to come and work with us today. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's an honor to be able to be here and be able to talk with you guys about H2. It really is a joy in my life to be able to help others with it. So you guys ready for this presentation? I think it's going to be fun. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So let's go.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen. And then we're going to get into this presentation real quick. Make this big. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Okay, so my presentation is called The Invisible Medicine. You guys are going to find out why as we go through this presentation. But as a summary, what I'm going to be talking about is introducing hydrogen therapy, focusing on hydrogen water, its science, its potential health benefits in an accessible and engaging way. So a little bit about me. I am the founder and CEO of H2 LLC. I'm the creator of H2 Minutes, and I serve as the chairman of H2 Education Committee at the Molecular Hydrogen Institute. I've been a leader and educator in the hydrogen industry for over a decade, and I've been able to bless a lot of people with H2. So it's been a pleasure to be able to do this. The two organizations that I run, H2 Minutes is a free research-based educational YouTube series dedicated to molecular hydrogen. And my company, H2 Hub, is the premier platform for shopping for hydrogen products that have been objectively tested and approved for their therapeutic potential. So we try to ensure that the product is safe to use and make sure that make sure that these products provide enough hydrogen for people to get the benefits based on human research. So this will be a little bit of my hydrogen achievements, a little bit of my story. You don't have to read all of this. I'm just talking about a few that I'm proud about and tell you a little bit about me and how I got into this. So first and foremost would be my company, H2 Hub. I'm really proud for what we've been able to do. H2 Hub is the only company in the world that combines hydrogen education, third-party testing, and public recommendations of hydrogen products for people, so helping them navigate the market. H2 Minutes is also one thing I'm super proud of. We've comprised the most comprehensive video series on hydrogen therapy in the world. And that's just been a big blessing to many people. I'm also a founding board member for the American Hydrogen Health Association, which is a association that is about promoting the science, integrity, and standards in the hydrogen health industry. And I've served as a pioneering member for a particular type of hydrogen technology to basically come into the United States called the hydrogen infusion machine. This technology basically allows hydrogen gas to be dissolved into ordinary drinking water without altering the pH of the water. And I was a key figure for pioneering PEM hydrogen water bottles here in the United States, providing early testing and improving their technology and performance. And lastly of all, the thing I'll probably say that's one of the things I'm really proud about is my hydrogen calculations. I developed some particular hydrogen calculations that have been cited in scientific literature. So I developed a unit called the cent per milligram of H2 unit that has been recognized by researchers and has been cited in the studies. So this is kind of what I've achieved in the last 10 years, but this is not where it started. So where it started for me was that I basically spent 20 years playing football, and I aspired to be in the NFL. And that is really where my journey began with hydrogen, or where I should say hydrogen invaded my story. And so as I was attempting to make it to the NFL, I played for a professional indoor football team in Wichita, Kansas. And I ended up doing really well there. I'll just say it that way. I ended up doing really well there. And my agent at the time was ultimately a pretty big time dude that ultimately got me a chance to be seen by a couple different teams. During this time, I started consuming hydrogen-rich water, just like you guys are consuming hydrogen-rich water. And I had tremendous kind of effects. And it came through my wife's cousin. I just really didn't know much about it. And I did not trust him very well. But I did start to research a little bit because I have an inquisitive mind. I wanted to learn a little bit about it. And I couldn't get to the bottom of this. And so I ended up praying to God because I'm a Christian. I prayed to Jesus, asked him, Lord, help me figure out what's going on with this. And I kid you not, in 2 weeks, I ran into a gentleman online teaching about the science of this water and telling me basically that hydrogen gas was the key. So I started reading medical publications on hydrogen, typing in whatever disease model I want: cancer, diabetes, fibromyalgia, heart disease, heart attacks, whatever I could search. And I read hundreds of medical publications to the point to where I became utterly convicted that molecular hydrogen was a diamond in the rough and that no one knew about it and that the world needed to know. So I'm going to let them know. And that started my journey. And since then, I've been helping people with H2, and I've been able to accomplish much in this industry. And I continue want to help others with this. It's my passion. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's get into what is hydrogen. Okay, so hydrogen is the first element, and it's the father of all other elements. So in other words, every other atom is derivative of hydrogen. So if you don't know what element is, the element is a fundamental substance or atom that makes up the universe. Hydrogen was the first atom to exist, and every other atom comes from it. It's the simplest atom. Hydrogen exists in several forms, but molecular hydrogen or gaseous hydrogen, there's a form of hydrogen that is a gas. Gaseous hydrogen is responsible for its therapeutic effects or like its health benefits. And over the last 20 to 30 years, researchers have been investigating it and have now basically determined that it is a novel therapeutic medical gas. So what you need to understand is that the foundation of hydrogen therapy is predicated on this gaseous form of hydrogen called molecular hydrogen or called hydrogen gas. It is the source of hydrogen therapy's health benefits. So what is molecular hydrogen? So glad you asked. It truly is the star of the show. It goes by different names: H2, hydrogen gas, diatomic hydrogen, the hydrogen molecule, molecular H2. You have gaseous hydrogen. It has many different names. It's neutral in its charge. It's a colorless, odorless, tasteless, non-toxic gas. So basically, in other words, it's invisible, or it's Houdini. This is why I call this presentation the invisible medicine. It is flammable between 4 to 75% in the presence of oxygen, except for when it's dissolved into water. This is similar to gunpowder. Gunpowder is not combustible when it's dissolved into water. And it's the smallest molecule in the universe. It's break your brain small. Like H2 is 17 times smaller than the width of the DNA double helix. To give you perspective, the DNA double helix width is only 2.5 nanometers wide. It's very, very, very small. So to kind of wrap your head around this, you can fit approximately 3 million hydrogen molecules across the width of a single strand of hair. Okay? So in your own time, y'all got to do that. Y'all got to do that. Y'all can do that as homework. And so because of these two properties, it being so small and it's neutral in its charge, molecular hydrogen can actually diffuse through all human barriers, such as the blood-brain barrier, the placenta barrier, the testis barrier, the intestinal barrier, the skin barrier, the air gap lung barrier. There's no barriers in your body that molecular hydrogen can't diffuse through, and there's no place in your body that molecular hydrogen can't go. It can actually diffuse into the smallest subcellular compartments of our cells, such as the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, such as the nucleus, which is the brain of the cell, such as the endoplasmic reticulum, which is the area where protein synthesis happens, which is, we're basically built on proteins. So hydrogen can get into these compartments or these subcellular compartments, whereas other beneficial molecules, it's very challenging for them to reach it without special proteins and transporters to get them there. So these two facts determine the fact that molecular hydrogen is the most bioavailable molecule in existence, and it has the fastest diffusion rate, or how it has fast diffusion rate into any place in our body more than any other molecule. All right, so hydrogen therapy. So I'm gonna give you a simple definition of what hydrogen therapy is. Hydrogen therapy is the administration of molecular hydrogen or hydrogen gas to the human body to reap its medical benefits. So I'm gonna say it again. Hydrogen therapy is the administration of hydrogen gas or molecular hydrogen to the human body to reap its medical benefits. So currently right now in 2025, there are more than 3,000 scientific studies and publications worldwide. And through these studies, we see that there is more than 200 human disease models that hydrogen is therapeutic for. I didn't even know there was 200 diseases at 200 diseases at one point. Also, through these studies, we see that there are more than 200 human clinical trials with phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical studies underway. These higher degree studies are necessary for hydrogen's clinical use. Also, through the studies, we see it is virtually therapeutic for every organ in the human body. And it has no known harmful effects, which is probably one of the most remarkable facts about molecular hydrogen thus far, because even drinking too much water can hurt us. So like having something that has no harmful effects is just truly amazing so far. And in the scientific literature, it's had exponential growth since 2007, with studies being published in the most prestigious medical journals in the world, such as Nature Medicine and Science. All right. So I put together a tiny list of its therapeutic effects for us. All right. So this is a tiny list. So H2 can act as a selective antioxidant. It has anti-inflammatory effects. It is the smallest, most bioavailable therapeutic agent ever. It has anti-allergic effects, anti-cellular death effects, anti-aging effects, and improves the immune system, increases metabolism and cellular metabolism, can increase our own body's antioxidants, such as glutathione, superoxide dismutase, catalase, hemo-1 oxidase, lipoic acid. These are all powerful antioxidants that our bodies naturally produce. And H2 can actually upregulate these antioxidants to benefit our bodies. And this is essential because as we age, we lose the capacity to maintain optimal levels of these antioxidants. It can also decrease muscle fatigue, decrease lactic acid or lactate levels. Its anti-diabetic effects, anti-cancer effects, improves cognitive function, and neuroprotective. So H2 can do quite a bit, and this is just a tiny list. So how they're administering the gas in the studies is one, through hydrogen-rich water, which is the consumption of water infused with molecular hydrogen. Then you have hydrogen inhalation, which is the inhalation of hydrogen gas through specialized devices or tanks. Then you have intravenous injections, which is the direct introduction of molecular hydrogen to the bloodstream. And the way they do this is they dissolve hydrogen gas into saline, and then they take that saline and supply it to a person via an IV. And then you have topical applications, such as like hydrogen baths, where you can actually sit in a bathtub that has hydrogen gas diffused into the water or infused into the water and soak and get the benefits that way. There's also gels, creams, and lotions, and even foam that they dissolve hydrogen gas into and that they can apply topically. So these are just some of the ways that they administer the gas. All right. So if this is a tiny list, I wanted to ensure y'all got a short list because I feel like the tiny list just did not do hydrogen gas enough justice, because I want y'all to see what has got me so stuck on H2. Okay. So this is 52 of its health benefits that has been demonstrated from the scientific literature. So one of the most important things about this slide is that each one of these benefits has scientific evidence to substantiate that hydrogen has a therapeutic potential to induce these effects. So this is not just words on a screen. This is not just marketing hype. These are actual benefits with studies. This is why we say here at H2 Hub, molecular hydrogen provides hope. HOPE is our acronym that we use, and it stands for hydrogen offers profound effects. Okay. So hydrogen is giving me hope, and we've tried to give other people hope through hydrogen. So I wanted to highlight a few of these because I didn't want to go past this, and I think you guys should take a screenshot of this so you guys can save it for later. But I'll just highlight a few of these benefits. So one would be hydrogen can activate and regulate stem cells. It has anti-aging effects. It can enhance the blood-brain barrier function, which is essential for our brain health. It can improve autoimmune diseases. It improves blood flow and microcirculation. It can improve sleep, non-REM sleep, REM sleep, and sleep latency, meaning how fast we fall asleep. It can reduce cholesterol levels. Hydrogen's also been shown to regulate the endocrine system or hormones, such as ghrelin, leptin, adiponectin, fibroblasts, estrogen, testosterone, cortisol, insulin, prolactin, progesterone, and oxytocin. It also has been shown to regulate neurotransmitters that are essential for us, such as glutamate, GABA, dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. These are just a few of these benefits, and it really does have a myriad of effects. So We want to make sure you guys are getting hope from hydrogen and that you're sharing this hope with others. Hydrogen water. Isn't hydrogen already in water? This is the statement I've heard for the last decade. I've answered this question so much in my life, and this is the typical rebuttal that I get. And so I'm going to ensure you guys understand what hydrogen water is and what hydrogen water is not. And so to begin to understand this topic, we first have to talk about how waters are classified. So I'll give y'all a little homework. Next time you guys go to the store, go down the water aisle and look at the titles of the waters. They're always going to start with the characteristic of the water, followed by the title water. So when you go down, you're going to see spring water, distilled water, purified water, electrolyte water, alkaline water. And some waters are defined by their dissolved gases, such as carbonated water, oxygenated water, ozonated water. Hydrogen water follows the same pattern, but can be confusing for us because we know hydrogen is already part of water. We learned this in elementary school, right? Water is H2O, right? And so we've been told this for years. And so we automatically have a barrier typically when we hear the term hydrogen water. And this also highlights the fact that we lack the awareness of the different forms of hydrogen. So I'm gonna help y'all out. So water is made up with hydrogen atoms bonded to an oxygen atom. And molecular hydrogen or hydrogen gas is two hydrogen atoms bonded together, forming the hydrogen molecule or gaseous hydrogen. Now that gas can now be dissolved into water, forming hydrogen-rich water, which produces the benefits on our bodies. So here's a diagram of the water molecule and hydrogen gas. So what we see here with the water molecules, we have one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms that are covalently bonded together, meaning they share electrons. And then you have hydrogen gas, which is two hydrogen atoms that are covalently bonded together. Now, this hydrogen gas or molecular hydrogen can be dissolved into water, just like carbon dioxide gas can be dissolved into water, just like oxygen gas can be dissolved into water because it is a gas. So hydrogen water simply is water or ordinary water with dissolved molecular hydrogen. But a better definition would truly be hydrogen water is simply just ordinary water with dissolved molecular hydrogen up to therapeutic concentration or beneficial amounts, okay? And these hydrogen molecules don't bond with the water molecules. They don't become some novel, exotic molecule or anything. They just hydrogen molecules and water molecules. This is similar to carbonated beverages that contain dissolved carbon dioxide gas, and the water acts as a vehicle to transport H2 molecules into the body. H2 can be dissolved into any type of solution, such as orange juice, grape juice, lemonade, wine, for those who like to drink adult drinks. It can be dissolved into any beverage, and is independent of pH of the solution. So it does not alter the pH of any kind of solution. So this is really, really important because there can be confusion in the marketplace between hydrogen water and alkaline water. Alkaline water is not hydrogen water, and hydrogen water is not alkaline water. So we can talk about this in the Q&A if you guys have any questions around that, and I can explain that further. So here's another diagram that if we were to look at water with a microscope and zoom into it to look at hydrogen water on the molecular level, this is what it will look like. We would have water molecules that are basically held together by what's called hydrogen electrostatic bonds. So this hydrogen atom is going to be slightly positive in its charge, and this oxygen atom is going to be slightly negative, and it causes them to stick. This is what gives water its cohesion effect. But we see here between the water molecules that we have a cavity. Hydrogen gas dissolves into these cavities between the water molecules. And because of this, it can actually be dissolved and be transported into our bodies. This is what it looks like. They don't react with the water molecules. It doesn't undergo any kind of chemical reaction or anything. It's just molecular hydrogen, hydrogen gas, and water. Okay, so this is a really, really important slide, and I wanted to make sure that I did some work to develop the concept for this slide. So to begin, let's go ahead and start with reading this. The molecular hydrogen's concentration in water is crucial for its benefits, okay? So the concentration is essential. So I'm gonna need y'all to see my wonderful face on this. Can y'all all see me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to break down concentration for us so that we all be on the same page, because we don't wake up every day, grab a cup of coffee, grab our spouse, walk into the kitchen and say, hey, baby, we're going to be talking about solvents, solutes, density, and concentration this morning. That's not what we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about water and salt. Okay. So, so basically, let's say we had a glass of water and a spoonful of salt. If we were to take that salt, put it in the water, we can see salt crystals in the water. We can start to stir the water and we'll see those salt crystals disappear, letting us know that the salt is dissolved into the water. And if we were to drink that water or sip that water, it would actually taste salty. We could indicate, we can basically taste or detect that it's salty, letting us know we've increased the concentration of salt in that water. Now, if we were to add even more salt to the water, you see the salt crystal, you would stir it till those salt crystals disappear, letting you know that it is dissolved. If you were to drink it again, it'll be even more salty, letting you know you further increase the concentration of salt in that water. This principle applies to hydrogen gas as well, that we can increase the concentration of hydrogen gas within the water to a point in which is beneficial to us, and that we can actually further increase the concentration to even gain even more benefits. All right. Now, this is also another principle that is really important. So basically, let's say we had a normal glass of water with no extra salt in it, and we were to drink it. We would not detect that there was salt in it, but salt is already present in majority of our source waters that we drink. So the salt concentrations are just too low for our tongue to detect it. Well, the same thing applies to hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is already in our water. It's just so low that we do not get the benefits. All right. So a way of thinking about this would be showing you this example here. So this is some tap water. So I have some tap water here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this tap water into this beaker so you all can see it. Okay. And what I have here is a reagent that's going to let us make the invisible visible. So this reagent is called H2 blue, and it can detect the presence of hydrogen gas within water. And basically, if hydrogen gas is present, it will turn clear. If hydrogen gas is not present in the water, it will stay blue. Okay, so I'm gonna put a couple drops of this in here, and we'll see if there's any hydrogen gas, detectable levels of hydrogen gas in my water. So there's no detectable levels of hydrogen gas in my tap water. But now I just made some hydrogen water with a hydrogen tablet. And now let's see if there's any hydrogen gas in this water. And it turns clear, right? So we can actually detect the presence and make the invisible visible with this reagent to let you see that hydrogen gas is actually in this water. And technically what we could do is we could actually take this hydrogen water and we could put it into my tap water, right, that doesn't have detectable levels. And we can make it turn clear. So we just increased the concentration of hydrogen gas in my tap water. So you guys can actually see, this is why we get the benefits. So this is what's happening when we're actually taking our tablets and putting it into our ordinary water. We're increasing that hydrogen concentration from undetectable levels to detectable levels, or even to therapeutic levels. All right. Okay, so when we are talking about concentration, what's most important for you to understand is that the units of measurements that you're going to see in the marketplace is going to be ppm, ppb, and milligrams per liter. Okay, so ppm stands for parts per million, ppb stands for parts per billion, and milligrams per liter stands for milligrams per liter. So how are they related? Well, an easy way of thinking about it is that ppm is basically um, equivalent to ppb by multiplying it by 1,000. So 1 ppm is equal to 1,000 ppb, and 2 ppm is equal to 2,000 ppb. So if you want to go from ppb to ppm, just divide the ppb by 1,000 and you will get ppm. And ppm, parts per million, is equivalent to milligrams per liter. They basically mean the exact same thing. But authorities like me in the industry, I'm going to tell you to use milligrams per liter because it's going to help you understand the effective dose of hydrogen that you're going to receive to your body when you consume the water. So if the concentration of hydrogen gases in the water is 1 milligrams per liter, that means if you drink 33.8 ounces of that water at 1 milligram per liter, you know you're going to get 1 milligram of hydrogen gas into your body. This is essential. This is essential to determine if you're going to get the therapeutic benefits of hydrogen gas to your body. We've already shown that the levels can be too low to get the benefits. In fact, the levels of hydrogen gas in our tap water is only 0.2 to 0.8 parts per trillion, PPT. So to help you understand the gap between PPT and ppm, I'm going to use another example, okay? So parts per million versus parts per trillion. So let's say I was going to give you all this presentation in 1,000,000 seconds. Well, 1,000,000 seconds translates to 12 days. So you can be like, hey, bro, why don't you just tell me it's 2 weeks, my man? But let's say I was going to give you this presentation in 1,000,000,000 seconds. That's 32 years. You see the difference between 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000? Now let's say I was going to give you this presentation in 1,000,000,000,000 seconds. That's 32,000 years. You see the difference between 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000? When you move up orders of magnitude in numbers, the gaps are just huge. So the levels of hydrogen gas in our tap water are just infinitesimally lower than what is actually needed for us to be beneficial. So this is how I'm stating it. So this is how I have it stated here. Tap water has 13 million times less H2 than hydrogen water at a concentration of 1.57 milligrams per liter, providing us no benefits. So 1.57 milligrams per liter is the maximum amount of hydrogen gas you can get into the water without using more pressure to force the gas in. All right, so a common way of obtaining hydrogen water. So one of the ways that I'm going to discuss with you guys is hydrogen-producing tablets. So hydrogen-producing tablets utilize elemental magnesium, which naturally reacts with water to generate molecular hydrogen. Sometimes elemental magnesium is referred to as metallic magnesium. And an example of this would be like the H2 tabs. These tablets can generate a high concentration of hydrogen in water with just 2 to 3 minutes. And clinical studies typically use between 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 tablets per day. They also serve as an excellent magnesium supplement because they have really high bioavailability and they provide us the essential form of magnesium that we need and that our bodies use. Also, these tablets can be used with any beverage. And so you can put them in juices, you can put them in your isotonics or your isotonics daily essentials. And it's always important to ensure that if you are going to put it into some kind of solution that you're going to mix, that you would mix it first and ensure that is produced before you add the tablet to it. You do not want to agitate hydrogen water. You don't want to stir it. You do not want to blend it because that's going to increase the rate of hydrogen dissipation from the water, basically making the water not therapeutic anymore. All right. Okay, so that is my presentation. Thank you all so much for being here and attending. It was an honor to be able to teach you about hydrogen therapy today. If you want to learn more about me, you can do so by going to h2hub.com. And also you can go to H2 Minutes on YouTube and you can learn more about hydrogen therapy there. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tywon. I took as many notes this time as last time. So just continually learning, and we just appreciate you being here. And I definitely we see that Cole, Brecka, you're on, and we just wanted to honor you and thank you for being on as well.
Thank you, guys.
Developer of our H2 tab that we're now getting to learn about and all the benefits from it. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for having me, Tywon. I took a plethora of notes here, and and thank you for being such an expert in the space.
Yeah, no problem, man.
The benefits of hydrogen water are, as we know them now and as they're becoming more developed, we truly haven't hit, the tip of the iceberg with these. And I think, as more data, more studies come out, this product will be as known, if not more known, as electrolytes or protein powders or creatines or anything like that in the near future. And I appreciate you being a pioneer in the space, for this product. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Hey, no problem. I've said this before. I think hydrogen is going to become more known than vitamin C.
I believe that too, man.
And
I believe that too.
It's only a matter of time. And I would only echo what you've already said. And I stated that plenty of times that we still need more research, but what we have right now is utterly remarkable and fascinating. There's no reason why people shouldn't be on this right now.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't agree more. So thank you guys.
Yep.
Wonderful. And so at this point, we're going to go ahead and open it up to some questions.